This is the Lounge Podcast brought to you by Record On Studios, hosting the Qatar Parenting Network. And I'm pleased and proud to say I'm joined now by professional coach and mentor Stefan Lindberg-Jones, also a colleague of mine. Welcome along, Stefan.
It's good to see you, Russell.
Stefan, I just wanted, before we start, I just want to try and sort of help people understand maybe the roles of a coach and mentor and what took you down that particular path.
Well, I always say it's depression. Depression is like a transition from one life journey to another, and it happened to me twice. And the last time I was in depression was during COVID. And it really took me from ego to listening to my heart. Once I started to listen to my heart, then something inside of me said, look, you're always giving back. You're always looking after people. You know, even my production company, it wasn't about the production. It was making a platform where people could shine, be the best versions that they could. And I didn't realize that at the time, because ego was like, yeah, you've got to be a big company. You've got to be a good, big brand. But for me, it wasn't about the production. It wasn't about, you know, the name, et cetera, et cetera. It was really letting people shine. And during COVID, when I was in that deep, dark depression, something inside of me said, look, you need the tools to help people properly go into coaching. And I've never looked back since. I just love helping people on their life journey.
Well, it's interesting. I'm pleased to hear that, and I'm pleased to see you're looking well and feeling well, giving back in a positive way. But let's just, before we get into the meat of this, talk in terms of our parents, my parents, a different generation, and we have those expressions that readily come to mind: keep calm and carry on, never complain, never explain, which is a favourite of the royal family.
Yeah.
And you have that generation who maybe even now don't understand what you're doing.
But now I'm always trying to explain to my mum. She said, I don't get it. Why are people coming to you? Why do they need their help? Because, you know, in our day, we just got on with it. You know, you didn't complain, you just got on with it. And I said, yeah, but now people are more getting in touch with their feelings, getting in touch with, you know, finding out why it isn't working. And as you say, you know, the way we are kind of programmed, basically, we were looking up at our parents and we were following, you know, what they did. And that's what they were doing. But they were told, you just get on with it. But now we're kind of exploring things, aren't we, with our feelings?
We are here at the this workshop, this event, Qatar Parenting Network, and you're a dad, proud
Yes.
dad. What does parenting, this expression, parenting with purpose, mean to you?
Well, I was reflecting on this, and I've been through 3 stages of parenting. And, you know, I've got 4 children and, you know, 3 boys and 1 daughter. And, you know, the first stage of my parenting, I literally followed what I saw with my dad. So I became my dad when I first had my son, my first son. And when I look back, you know, I ended up looking like him. I acted like him because that's all I had to, you know, learn from. But then when I got divorced and I went through that transition through depression, then I came out the other side. And then when I came out the other side, then Mr. Ego and entrepreneur took over. And I have a picture of me with my daughter in my arms, and I've got my laptop on my lap. And I'm focused on my laptop because it was all about the business. So, and then the third part is when I'm coaching, it's really getting in touch with my children and really being there for them, giving them the space and actually working on myself. So really parenting for me, you know, and that journey is learning about who I am and how I show up for them and giving them that space to learn, grow, but also, you know, keep them within the boundaries, but also show them the values, etc. And also to be open and learn about yourself as well.
Now, you've got 3 sons.
3 sons and 1 daughter.
Yeah, and boys often taught to hide their feelings, even now. So did you experience that as yourself, and how has that affected your emotional development and how you're passing that on to your boys?
Good question. Yeah, with my dad growing up, he was very much told to keep it all in. Don't express your feelings. And I think that ended up literally, because he had this disease that literally ate up inside of him. And, he died of, it's called MRSA. And literally, and I was always there,
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, but, he was like an experiment. They took biopsies and, just to find out what was going wrong. And this disease would attack him all over the place. And I was watching that from, late 20s all the way up till early 50s. And it's just like, when you see that and you really I kept on saying, Dad, you need to express yourself. You need to let it out. And he wouldn't let it out. And I just think that I'm sure it had an effect on him, that because he wasn't expressing himself, wasn't allowing it to let out, it would just eat inside. And that's why for me, it's very important. When I was doing my coaching course, I was on a course of 18 ladies and I was the only man and I was the only one that cried twice. And I didn't care. I didn't care because it was just, I needed that to literally, something inside of me just needed to be let out. And I've been crying ever since, in a way. I just think, no, it's important for us to let things out.
We can talk about that, can't we? Because this whole concept of sort of men don't cry. I'm not sure if the audience will know of a guy from a TV series called The Only Way is Essex. His guy's named Jamie. He ran sort of like a marathon a day for like 30 days or something ridiculous.
I saw that, yeah.
And although people need to celebrate his achievement, his physical achievement, when he finished, he broke down in tears because he was emotionally overwhelmed, as well as being physically tired. And people judge that differently. Some embracing it, some suggesting that after all that, this roughy-tufty man's now crying like a baby. So what do we need to do to change that mindset?
I think just to be more open and be more expressive and to show that men do cry. And it's important for us to allow ourselves to cry. It's not about, when we were growing up, it was like, no, a man is a man and, he shows up and he's all tufty. But no, a good man, a strong man is the one that can show his feelings, can express himself in all ways.
On the coaching, I just want to finish with this, Stefan. On the coaching, you don't need to have hard life lessons to be a good coach.
No.
But I guess it helps when you do have experiences you can personally relate to when you're dealing with other people. They might think, well, what could you possibly tell me? If you've been there, you've struggled yourself, you've done something about it, you're trying to give back. That's a wholesome attitude that you can pass on, right?
Absolutely. That's why I call myself a coach and a mentor, because coaching is not about giving yourself or where you're coming from, but a mentor is. So that's why I say I'm a coach and a mentor, because you will get the hard questions where you have to work on yourself. But from a mentor point of view, I've been through a lot. So I can stand by you and know what you're going through, and I know what you're feeling.
Stefan Lindberg-Jones, thank you so much for being on the Lounge Podcast, hosted by Record On Studios here at the Qatar Parenting Network, giving the thoughts of you as a coach, a mentor, and a dad, father of 3 sons and a daughter.
Thank you, Russell.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, my man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.